Hello and a warm welcome also from my side to this session today about integration exception monitoring in SAP Focused Run. As said, my name is Markus Bechler and I'm the responsible product manager for integration exception monitoring in SAP Focused Run as well as in SAP Cloud ALM for operations. But today we will only talk about SAP Focused Run. As always, we have to show our disclaimer because you can see or you could see some things in the system or on the slides which are not final yet. So therefore, the disclaimer is there to set the expectations in the right context. So please be aware of that. For today's session, I prepared a small agenda. I will simply spend a few words about SAP Focused Run in general to give you the right overview about the product. And then we will directly deep dive into the integration exception monitoring application, which is available in SAP Focused Run. There, I will give you a short overview about the concept and what you can expect from the application. Then I will spend a few minutes on a summary, which what we did in SAP Focused Run 3.0 in integration and exception monitoring, especially from a feature and content perspective. In the meantime, SAP Focused Run 4.0 is also generally available for you as a customer. We will then do the biggest part of the presentation in the system. So there I will simply demo to you the application and how it works. And at the end, I want to give you a short outlook about the code line SAP Focused Run 4.0, what you can expect in the upcoming feature packs in the next months and years. With that, we will just start with a short overview about SAP Focused Run. SAP Focused Run is simply a solution which ensures the health of your hybrid solution landscape by monitoring and alerting those entities in the landscape. We simply try to increase the operation efficiency by automating operations tasks, and we enable you to do a root cause analysis on a deep technical level. It's a powerful solution for customers and partners. It's not only available for partners and customers, so also we at SAP use this solution to operate our biggest landscape here in the enterprise cloud solution. And with this solution, you are able to simply centralize and automate your operations part to minimize the TCO. We try to address here advanced customer needs in terms of scalability, so you can connect thousands of systems to one SAP Focused Run instance. We can deal with large data volumes. If you can imagine that, for example, in integration exception monitoring, we have to deal with millions of messages from a cloud integration suite tenant, for example. We have some applications to measure the performance accordingly. We have applications available to ensure the security of your landscape and so on and so forth. SAP Focused Run is a product which is completely natively built on SAP HANA as a platform. So we use all functionalities which SAP HANA provides us from a database perspective. So that means we are here state of the art from a development point of view and also from a platform point of view. We offer also an anomaly prediction, a threshold recommendation, as well as automated alert clustering based on the monitoring and alerting data, which we retrieve from the connected services and systems. So here we invest also heavily in this automation stuff so that you can simply expect what you need from the system. We address also specific needs for internal or external IT service providers. That means in the end, also the service providers can use SAP Focused Run to operate their customer landscapes. So we have a concept established there with customer networks so that the one customer cannot see the data from another customer and so on and so forth. Those things are also available in SAP Focused Run simply to ensure that the system management and application management is completely separated, operated by SAP Focused Run for different customers. To be honest, SAP Focused Run is an official SAP price list product. That means you have to buy a dedicated license for it, and you have to have also a maintenance contract for it, and you have to operate the system, the SAP Focused Run instance, on your side in your data center on an own machine. What is the functional overview from SAP Focused Run? We have on the left-hand side our so-called inbound integrations. That could be a metric which flow in from a system or a cloud service. We can get some configuration items. We can retrieve log entries, for example, from the ABAP system where we have integration into the application log, for example. We can retrieve some events, and also we can retrieve alerts from external alerting systems. In the end, those metrics or those inbound integration channels can be consumed by our problem detection applications. So here you can see we have integration and exception monitoring where we spent the session today for it. And we have then also other applications available which can consume the data. It's synthetic and real user monitoring, application monitoring, and system monitoring. From here, we simply come to our central alert and notification management, which is in the end our problem routing engine. Here we can then simply decide what should be happen if we detect an erroneous message, for example, or an erroneous IDOC in the system from integration exception monitoring perspective. We can simply trigger operation automation. We can trigger a root cause analysis. We can do further analysis via analytics and intelligence applications. And we can also do the maintenance and service part for most of the connected systems. From here, we have the possibility to simply send out some things via our outbound integration channel. So on the first-hand side, we can send out emails. We can also send out in the future chat notifications. We can create tickets in a ticket system, for example. We can start operation flows, and we can also expose the data to external tools. So, for example, Grafana can be used to build your own dashboard on the data which we expose. On top of it, we have the service level management, the service availability management, and the IT calendar and work mode management. So those things can be used simply to bring everything together. So in the IT calendar or work mode management, for example, you will see if a system has a downtime, for example, then you will be notified here also in the IT calendar that there's something down at the moment. And you can also schedule your own downtimes and maintenance windows there. So that's the functional overview about Focused Run. Now we will directly switch to the application. It's integration exception monitoring, and we start with a small overview. What we try to do in integration exception monitoring is simply we like to ensure a reliable data exchange between cloud services and systems in your landscape. So, and as you can also see from the picture here, it doesn't matter if the system or the service is hosted on premise or it's a cloud service, which is hosted as a service application. So means we can collect data from nearly every SAP product. And now I have two flows here prepared. The first one is a cloud-only flow. There is a work order which is getting created in SAP Field Class. The replication happens then through the SAP Cloud Integration tenant, and it's replicated then to S/4HANA Cloud and to SAP SuccessFactors. And in the end, we have now a process which was handled by 4 entities. And now in every entity or in every service, we have a small message log information available, which is logged by the product itself. And we from integration exception monitoring simply collect now this data from every cloud service, in this case from SuccessFactors, from S/4HANA Cloud, from the Field Class tenant, and also from the cloud integration tenant. As soon as the data is collected from the cloud services, we are able to simply visualize the data which we have collected in our UIs. You can see here a small overview about a scenario which was built for a specific case, but this I will also explain then in the demo. The second workflow here is simply an order which is getting created in the SAP Ariba system or service, and this order will be replicated via SAP Process Orchestration to the S/4HANA on-premise system. And here we have exactly the same case as in the cloud-only world. We can collect the systems via our agent infrastructure from the on-premise systems. We get the data into our application, and we can visualize the data then also probably in our UIs. What is in for you in our integration exception monitoring application? So we try simply to manage complex landscapes with millions of interface codes and message flows. So means we have to deal with a large data volume in our application. So here you can expect that this is working fine and smoothly. We can monitor message flows which are being processed by SAP Process Integration, Process Orchestration, or via SAP System Landscape Transformation System, or an SAP Integration Suite, a tenant, for example. We can also monitor peer-to-peer interfaces as IDOC, RSC, OData, and web service calls, and we can bring everything together in a so-called scenario topology view, where you as a customer have the possibility to create also communication flows. You can set filters on the several systems. You can set filters on the direction flows and so on and so forth. But this we will see in the demo later on. We have some overview dashboards available where we simply have the possibility to drill down in every capability to see the single message executions and exceptions. So that means we have no counters available for the categories. So we have simply every single message instance available in SAP Focused Run, and you can simply see then also the message which was transferred or exchanged between the systems. We have a use case specific alerting. That means every use case can create alerts or can raise alerts. Those alerts then are pushed to the alert inbox, and there we have a unified alert inbox available. We have in every application an embedded alert ticker available that you can quickly see what's going on in my system landscape at the moment. But this we will also see in the demo in a few seconds. We have, in the meantime, also embedded analytics available for nearly every category. So that means you can deep dive into every category which we have available in an integration exception monitor, and you can do their further root cause analysis on the aggregated data. On top of the application, we have a message and document search. You can simply follow their message related certain business context attributes. So if you have an order number present, for example, and you would like to know in which messages this order number exists, then you can simply search for this order number and you will see the corresponding messages. We have an end-to-end monitoring available where we simply correlate single messages to an end-to-end message flow across components. As you can expect from the name, from the application, we are called integration and exception monitoring. So we have also the possibility to monitor integration-related exceptions for services and systems. For example, we can monitor the ABAP short dumps, we can monitor application log errors, and so on and so forth. Those things are captured in the exception monitoring part of the application. So there's also an own page available where you can do further analysis on the exceptions which are occurred in your system service. With that, I will just spend a few slides about SAP Focused Run, what we did in this code line. From a feature perspective, we spent the most of the time to bring a completely redesigned analytics part up in the application. So for nearly every category, you can now build your own dashboards. You can simply choose which pod you want to see. You can use pie charts. You can use here the diagrams to visualize the data, and you can simply compare then the data to the historical data. And you can see, for example, what was my throughput the last 3 months, how many IDOC messages are being processed in a certain system in a certain time frame. So that's available now for the most of the categories which we have in integration exception monitoring. So that is available since SAP Focused Run 3.0. Then we did also many improvements and small enhancements. We improved the overall performance of the application in several points. And from an enhancement perspective, we allow now you as a customer to copy scenarios that was not possible in the future, in the past. So now you can simply copy your scenario and can then do some smaller enhancements or smaller changes to the scenario which you want to copy. We have the possibility to create simply a path to a component itself in the integration scenarios. We have the option to ungroup alert groups and create an alert for every single occurrence of an alert via the checkbox here in the alert configuration atomic alerts. That means then in the end that you will get notified for every single message which is in an error state. If you don't like this, you can leave it as it is. Then we will simply group the alerts and we will add the erroneous messages to this one alert and will simply update the alert timestamp. You can now also adjust the data collection frequency for active integration monitoring categories for the on-premise technical systems. So that's now possible. And we have also additional filter fields for PI and IDOC messages developed in the last code line. From a content point of view, we added now the support for SAP Ariba-based scenarios. So there we collect simply message log entries and also the corresponding exceptions from the S4 side. For example, for Ariba, you can now monitor nearly every cloud service from Ariba. It starts with Ariba sourcing. You can configure Ariba procurement, better known as guided buying. Then we have the Ariba network available, and the cloud integration gateway is also available now. In addition to that, we also enabled the support for SAP SuccessFactors here. So there you can simply configure also the message collection of or the data collection of message log entries, which are available in the SAP SuccessFactors HXM suite. And we can visualize it in integration exception monitoring, especially for SAP master data integration-based scenarios. For Concur, we simply changed our integration. We already had this integration available in SAP Cloud ALM, and now we have it also available in the SAP Focused Run. In the past, for SAP Concur, we had only the chance to visualize counts for every object type. To you now, with the new integration, we are able to visualize also the single object entries, and you can do a deep dive into the objects which are replicated in the Concur system, so that you can also see what's happening there. Let's simply go to the application itself. I will just switch to the browser. I will do here a refresh. As soon as you have installed your SAP Focused Run system and did the pre-configuration steps and so on and so forth, then you should simply see a Fiori Launchpad like this. You can navigate through the tabs here in the header. We have now here a section which is called Integration and User Monitoring. There is the integration exception monitoring application available, as well as the real user and synthetic user monitoring application. From here, we can click on the tile and we just start our application. And what you have to do, if you enter the application, you have to set the so-called scope here. We have here two possibilities. You can either go via a scenario specific specification into the application, or you want to have a component specific view. Let's start with the scenario specific view. I will just use here one scenario, the hybrid scenario, which is mainly for demo purposes. Here we will simply apply the scope, and then we will directly land in our so-called status overview, or better known as scenario overview here. We will now see, okay, we have one scenario selected in the scope, and we see the scenario is also an error state. We propagate here the worst case status to this tile. That means in the end, okay, something goes wrong in my scenario. I want to have a look in deeper detail here. I can now click on the scenario card, and then I will directly land in the scenario topology view. On the right-hand side, you see the alert ticker. This is now context sensitive to the scenario which you have selected, and you can see there are two alerts now open for the scenario. From here, I can navigate directly to the alert in the unified alert inbox if I like. I can also make this a bit smaller. And now in the top, you see there are six components involved in the scenario. You have PI channels. There are 3 in error state. We have here integration flows. We have exceptions, QRFC connections, and so on and so forth. We see that there are 111 PI messages are processed in a certain time frame. If you want to change the time frame, you can simply click on this calendar icon, and you can then choose the time frame what you are interested in. Typically, we start the application with the today time frame. From here, you can now simply click on a line here, or you can click on a box, and then you get some detailed information. Here you see now the KPI metrics which are configured for this particular system, and here we see that only the category PI channels is configured in this scenario for this particular system. There are 3 in green state and 3 are in error state. If I'm now interested in the erroneous ones, I can simply click on the number here, and then I switch to our so-called single view of the entries. Here I see now 3 PI channels which are in error state. I see the channel name, I see the adapter type, I see the direction, I see the service which is used here, I see the control, and I see here also a short log information. From here, I can simply jump back via the breadcrumb. If I click on scenario topology, I land simply again here in my topology view. From here, I can now simply say, okay, I'm now interested here in this data direction flow. If I click on this flow, then I see which KPI metrics are assigned to this data direction flow or error. And here I see now that there are some PI messages are in error state. If I'm also interested here in more details, I can click the number. Then I see here, okay, everything belongs to one sender and one receiver component. There are 15 PI messages underneath. I can click here on this number, and then I will see the single instances of this PI service. From here, I came back to the scenario topology view. I can also click in my status overview on, for example, the PI channels, and then I will simply also come to my specific page for the process integration system. And here I see now, okay, I have my system here. We have 3 in error state, and I can also navigate from here to the PI channels. With the arrow here, I can simply go back to the scenario topology view and can do further analysis here. From here, for example, I will just switch to the left-hand menu bar. If you click here on these 3 lines, then you will come to our dedicated pages. We will see we have a dedicated page for the process orchestration or process integration systems available. We have an own page available for business docs or BDocs and iDocs. We have an own monitor available for the communication related things, especially for RFC, HTTP connections, for QRFC connections. And we have also a dedicated page available for our cloud solutions. So here you see now that we have a CPI already connected here. And we have here also the entry point for the integration errors. That's mainly the exceptions. If you click here, then you come to our exception distribution overview view. From here, you can simply click on this exception category, and then you will see also the exceptions which are occurred in this particular tenant or system. Let's simply go back to the process integration engines. Here we can now pick, for example, process integration Java messages. We can go to the total number. We will then see here the different combinations of sender component and receiver component or interface name. From here, I can simply also navigate then to the erroneous messages. Here I see again which messages are in error state and what was the error here. And I can now pick maybe this one, and let's see if there is some UDS attribute available. There is an UDS attribute available, so you can also configure UDS attributes, and we collect the data. For IDOCs, we have also the possibility to collect additional attributes from the IDOC segments. For example, here is the order number chosen. I will just copy this value and will show you the search. We can go back to the overview, and I will just enter here in the top of the page this order number. I will press on the lens icon, and we simply start the search. And now we simply found one successful message for this particular order number. And from here, I can also click on this line item, and then I see the whole message which was found by our search. For example, here you see also the order number. Let's simply just go back to the scope selection. So to also show to you the second entry point which we have. As I said, you can choose between scenario-specific entries and component-specific entries here. I will just go to the component-specific entry point. Here we see now that 12 technical systems are currently connected towards this Focused Run instance, and we have also 35 cloud services connected to this particular Focused Run instance. From here, I will simply choose maybe those two systems here, an ABAP system and a Java system. And with a click on apply, I will see the component-specific overview here. As you saw it already for the scenario, that's also available for the system view. Here you can now see that two systems are in an error state because of the worst case status, which is propagated to the top of the application. Here you can now see, okay, for this particular systems, we collect AAF messages, QRFC connections, TRFC connections, and with this carousel, you can then also see which categories are enabled for this particular system. From here, we can also jump into the embedded analytics part of the application. So here you have then to choose in which category you are interested in the embedded analytics. For example, I will now use IDOCs. And that was a bad example. Sorry for that. Let's go back and maybe choose the AIF messages. Hopefully it works. It looks like no data available. Okay, sorry for that. And I couldn't show this. We will simply then go next here into the IDOC from here. We can click on the number, and I have to pause the refresh here. So here you can now see also the different message types. So we have here our summary view of the IDOCs. There are a few different message types available. For example, here the orders outbound, the orders inbound available. If I'm now interested in the single IDOCs which are replicated here, I can go one level deeper, and then I see also here the document numbers, which is the IDOC number in the system. I can click on the IDOC number and then I will get all information which we have available for this IDOC. Here you see also that we have some additional attributes configured, but those are not collected here. We can see the status records and we can see also the data records here. From here, I will come back to the component view and I will show to you also the new analytics page. This is reachable via the left-hand menu bar. Here you can then simply click on analytics. This is not available for scenarios. So that means if you have selected a scenario, you will not be able to see this analytics page. This analytics page is only available if you select one or more single components. If you click on the analytics page, then you will simply see a pre-configured page, which can be configured also by you as a customer by your own. You can simply select here in this predefined page, okay, I'm interested in the last 6 months, for example. I want to see only the iDocs, not the other ones. You can deselect this. And you are interested in the ABAP component only. If I click on apply, you will see how many iDocs are getting processed in the last 6 months here. You can simply do this on every pod here. For example, we can also here make a summary by BDoc type. You can then see, okay, that was Buparel is the BDoc type here. And we can also do this personalization here in the bottom part. For example, here now I can say, I'm also interested in the last 6 months, but I'm now interested here in the PI messages and I want to see the average processing time. And then we see here the average processing time over the last 6 months for DPI messages. If you are interested how to configure this page, you can add simply a custom page. And in this custom page menu, you can go to the available views. And in the bottom of the available views, you have here the analytics part. You have the component analysis available, a category analysis, a trend analysis, and a summary view. You can simply use drag and drop to bring this to your page. And you can then simply configure it to your own needs. How to configure components and scenarios, that's done via this gear wheel here. You can simply open the configuration panel. Then we see here the technical systems which are configured. You see here the scenarios which are created here, and you see also the cloud services. If you want to change a configuration for a certain system, you have to select the corresponding technical system, press on it, and then you will land in a configuration dialog here. From here, you can simply jump into the system. You can then see which categories are enabled. You can see the data collection interval, which is now changeable. And you can now also change your filters for the monitoring data. So that means if you are only interested in some data for a certain interface, then you can define the filter here. The same applies for alerting. You can define the alerts as you need. So that means if you are interested in a particular alert for one particular interface, then you can simply add this alert for this category, and you can then filter in the alert for exactly this interface, and then you will get only an alert if we detect an erroneous message in this interface. Let's close this. So that's mainly it from my side. From a demonstration perspective, I will just switch back to the PowerPoint slide deck, and we will spend a few more minutes about the outlook for the code line SAP Focused Run 4.0. What do we plan for 4.0 and the next feature packs? We will introduce a template management into integration exception monitoring. So you will be able to create templates for alerts and for monitoring data and so on and so forth. This will be available hopefully then with feature pack 1. And we will also further enhance this template management in the upcoming feature packs. We will introduce an upload function for filter values. And we will also introduce the so-called component-based message alerts, which may be well known from the PI and PO systems. Then we plan to improve the overall stability and quality of integration and exception monitoring in the upcoming feature packs. And we will also see some more enhanced content for the OCC dashboards. From a supported content point of view, we have the major solutions already available in integration exception monitoring. We have some content planned also for the future. We will enable event mesh and field service management as a category in integration exception monitoring. We will have an own category available for EWMD ABAP push channels especially. And we will also have support for Asset Intelligent Network. With that, I'm at the end of my presentation, and I like to say thank you for your attention.